All right, let's just jump right in. Today we are going to try and unpack one of the most surreal, most iconic songs from Bob Dylan's legendary 1966 album, Blonde on Blonde. And that is, of course, stuck inside of Mobile with the Memphis Blues again. You know, it's this sprawling 9-verse epic, so let's see if we can make some sense of its beautiful chaos together.
This line right here, it's everything. It is the absolute beating heart of the song. It's not just a lyric, it's a feeling, a cry of desperation from someone trapped in a world that's absurd, frustrating, and feels like it's never ever going to end. This is our anchor point in the wild sea of imagery we're about to dive into.
So at its core, this whole song is built around one central theme, confinement. But we're not just talking about being stuck in a city. No, Dylan is painting a picture of being trapped in a state of mind, a reality where all the normal rules have just completely fallen apart.
You can just feel the walls closing in, can't you? It's this intensely claustrophobic world where every single time the narrator tries to connect, to make sense of things, he just hits a wall. And that creates this feeling of total paralysis where the very systems we all rely on are just broken.
And this lyric, it's just a brilliant, totally surreal way to show that breakdown. I mean, how are you supposed to get a message out if the entire post office has been stolen? The narrator wants to communicate, but the whole system is gone. Escape is not an option. Okay, so the world is broken, but it's not empty. Oh no, it is filled with this cast of chaotic characters, and each one is just as broken as the world around them. And they all just add another layer to our narrator's confusion. And who's the first person we meet? Shakespeare, of all people. But, this isn't the grand playwright you read in school. Nope, he's just hanging out in an alley dressed like a jester, talking to some girl. High art is literally brought down to the gutter, making it clear that nothing is where it's supposed to be. And then you've got Grandpa. Now, his death is a big shock to everyone, except our narrator. And you gotta ask, why? Because in this crazy world, he saw it coming. This act of pure, chaotic energy, building a fire and then shooting it, it's somehow not even surprising anymore.
Now look at this guy, the preacher. You'd think he'd be a source of truth, of clarity, right? But instead, he's literally weighed down by 20 pounds of sensational, meaningless news. He's not offering wisdom, he's just part of the noise. And it just keeps going. It's like this whole parade of broken authority figures. You've got the senator showing off his gun, these predatory railroad men, a ragman who won't even speak, and a rain man offering so-called cures that just make you more confused. You see the pattern here? Politics, business, medicine, it's all either threatening or totally useless.
Okay, we've got this crazy, chaotic world filled with all these bizarre people. What's the deal? What does all this actually mean? This is all building to something much, much bigger. Well, this isn't just random weirdness for the sake of it. This whole nightmarish scene is Dylan's powerful critique of society. You gotta remember, this is 1966. Things were changing fast. The song taps right into that feeling of a world where authority was crumbling and real human connection was getting lost. And this comparison right here, this is absolutely crucial. The debutante, she represents polite society, what you're supposed to need. But Ruthie? She represents raw, authentic desire, what you actually truly want. And our narrator is stuck right in the middle. It's just another kind of trap. Just think back to those characters for a second. The senator isn't solving any problems, he's just handing out tickets to his son's wedding. The preacher's covered in news but has no truth to offer. They're all symbols of a society that's just full of empty gestures, with nothing real underneath. So that brings us back to the big question. What exactly are the Memphis Blues? Well, it's not just about feeling sad. It's deeper. It's that reoccurring existential dread you feel when you look around and the world just doesn't make sense anymore. It leaves you feeling completely lost and trapped. For such a weird 7-minute journey of a song, it's had incredible staying power. So why? Why has this surreal masterpiece stuck with people for over half a century? Let's take a look.
Check this out. 748. That's how many times Bob Dylan has performed this song live. This isn't some deep cut or a forgotten track. No, this is a cornerstone of his legendary career, a song he came back to again and again.
And what's really interesting is that he didn't even play it live for a whole decade after it came out. But once he started in '76, it became a staple for decades. It just proves how timeless that feeling of confusion and being trapped really is. And in the end, the song just leaves us with this one final heavy thought. After all that madness, all that chaos, the narrator's just wondering, what's the price you have to pay to not go through all this stuff again? But the song, it doesn't give you an answer. It just leaves you right there, thinking, right alongside him, stuck inside of Mobile.